Hey everybody, my name is Jack Musick, and I am greeting you with lots of aloha. Big Island Kobudo, like, subscribe, notification bell, Patreon, Bitcoin, tip jar. Gratitude and appreciation. First off, thanks to my patrons. I could not do it without you, so thank you. I'm recording this video on Friday, November 17th, 2017, and it is about 5:07, 5:08 p.m. in the afternoon here in beautiful Hilo, Hawaii, at Wailoa State Park. This is the Wailoa River behind me. And actually this spot in ancient times was called PEO People. And this was where King Kamehameha's father lived. And it was also, in the 20th century, kind of a Japanese village area called Shingmachi. And it was destroyed in the tsunami of 1960. And it was decided not to rebuild in this area and to make it a park because it is in a tsunami inundation zone. And in the olden days, there would be shacks, built over the water. This was a fishing area. There'd be many boats and houses. And and in ancient times, this was like a place you could, it was like not a bread basket, but like a food basket with fish and, other kind of things. Anyway, I'm digressing. I didn't intend to talk about any of that at all. But I guess I love Helos History so much that it just sort of came out. So we'll leave it in. I wanted to make a video today about revolutions in consciousness. Like I said, I'm recording this in November of 2017, and I think there are multiple revolutions in human consciousness going on right now. We live in an amazing time, and I think it's important for us to focus on the amazing developments that are going on rather than getting mired in the negativity that the television and advertisers and Operation Mockingbird types are kind of selling you. So yeah, I was thinking about revolutions in consciousness because, well, a few different things, but one of them is, well, number one, I'm writing my master's paper right now, so that's kind of having its own revolutionary effect on my consciousness and on my thinking as my understanding of my research evolves and grows and deepens and expands and heats up. And for fun, when I'm cooking, for example, and I want to chill out for a little bit, I'll listen to Jordan Peterson lectures on YouTube. And he has put forth the idea in multiple lectures in the last year. And I'm sorry, I can't cite any specific ones, but I'll cite his channel and I'll say you can go through his videos because I know he's talked about it on a couple of them. That we are engaged in a revolution of human consciousness right now that is on par with the Gutenberg printing press. So, Peterson explains that at the time of the Gutenberg printing press, most people could not read. And people who could read usually only read aloud. They were unable to read silently. And if you could read silently, you were really awesome. And he talked about how the Gutenberg printing press made printing and made reading widely available. And so then books were no longer super expensive. They were affordable to common people. And then common people began to read, common people began to become more intelligent, and they were able to more freely exchange ideas with books. And so that constituted a revolution of human consciousness. And Peterson goes on to explain that, I apologize, I forgot my handheld mic, and so there is some street noise, bikers, it's Friday in Hilo, so yeah, I'm glad the bikers are out and having fun. Anyway, Peterson talks about how with YouTube, we are at a completely new revolution of consciousness on par with the Gutenberg printing press. And he explains that what the Gutenberg printing press did for the written word, YouTube and the internet are doing for the spoken word. And now people can listen to lectures, can listen to the spoken word very easily, freely, and nearly instantly around the world through the mechanism of the internet and through YouTube. And Peterson also explains that many young people now listen to lectures and to podcasts and to YouTube videos just as much, if not more, than music, and that's completely unheard of. So this is just one revolution of consciousness that's going on right now that Jordan Peterson spoke about. And then that got me to thinking about other revolutions of consciousness. And I guess I have been thinking about this a little bit for the past few months. But this is the first time I'm sharing any of my thoughts. So this is kind of, one of the threshold concepts of writing is that writing is a meaning-making activity. And this YouTube video is a form of writing. So I'm doing it as a form of meaning-making activity for myself and hopefully for the viewer. Hopefully you'll find something of value in here. So let me speak about the meaning I want to create with this. I've observed a few different revolutions of consciousness just in my own lifetime. The way certain things have changed to become more available now. And I will put that side of thought aside for a moment, and I will share a quote with you. And I don't have the book with me, but I did write this quote down in an annotated bibliography I did earlier this year. And I think I did make a YouTube video, citing this book before. It came out in 2011, and it's by Charles Eisenstein. The book is called Sacred Economics, Money, Gift, and Society in the Age of Transition, Berkeley, California, Evolver Editions. And in chapter 19, he talks about non-accumulation of goods. And there's an interesting footnote on page 367. So the gist of this is that humanity... Okay, so I'll summarize it and then I'll give you the exact quote. So the gist of this is that humanity had a 3 million year Stone Age, a 300,000 year Age of Fire, a 30,000 year Age of Symbolic Culture / Thought, a 3,000 year Age of Agriculture, a 300-year Industrial Age, and then a 30-year Information Age. And then after that, things are iffy and hard to know. And so now I'll give you the full quote in his own words. So Eisenstein said, quote, "Very roughly speaking, the Age of Agriculture lasted 3 millennia, the Age of Industry 3 centuries, the Information Age 3 decades. Now, many since we are on the verge of a singularity, perhaps a flurry of new ages telescoped into years, months, days, and then a transition into a wholly new era, something unknowable and qualitatively different from anything before. We may not know much about it yet, but one thing for certain about the coming age of reunion is that humanity will no longer pretend exemption from nature's laws." Okay, I see there was a footnote within there. So then going back to the footnote was after the first sentence. He said, "Very roughly speaking, the Age of Agriculture lasted 3 millennia, the Age of Industry 3 centuries, the Information Age 3 decades." Footnote. And then the footnote said I would precede these with a 30,000 year Age of Symbolic Culture. That's about how old the earliest representational art is, and in one view, symbolic language as well. A 300,000 year Age of Fire, and a 3 million year Age of Stone. Close quote. So then reviewing, Eisenstein said 3 million year Stone Age, 300,000 year Age of Fire, 30,000 year Age of Symbolic Culture / Thought, 3,000 year Age of Agriculture, 300 year Industrial Age, 30 year Information Age. And then going back to the quote, he says, "Now many since we are on the verge of a singularity, perhaps a flurry of new ages telescoped into years, months, days, and then a transition into a wholly new era, something unknowable and qualitatively different from anything before." Close quote. So that goes back to the revolution in human consciousness through YouTube and through spoken word and through lectures and through podcasts. this is an amazing time, and information is freely available. There's more information available to humans right now than ever before. And that is magical. That is special. And Jordan Peterson, was talking about YouTube and lectures he's put up on YouTube and other people have, and how those are penetrating human consciousness, global human consciousness. And I'm going to share just a couple others that I observe right now. One, I'm kind of observing, this media cycle that's going on with the hashtag #MeToo, or all the sexual scandals that are coming out with Weinstein and Spacey and George Herbert Walker Bush and many others. So I see this as kind of being like possibly a revolutionary, cycle of human consciousness, that this sort of blatant casual sexism, this entrenched sexism and abuse of power is not being tolerated. And I think this is an age where it's like through the internet, through cell phones and cameras, things can't be kept secret anymore. A lot of these disgusting truths are coming to the surface. They're not being hidden. In the past, if there was an abuse, for example, of like not that they're all bad, but like a police officer to a citizen, and the police officer was abusing the citizen. Before the age of video and cell phone videos, there was nothing the citizen could do. The police officer's word was always preferred in court, and the person's word was always discounted. But now with video, that's not possible. Those kind of injustices come to light more and more. And so that's kind of, exemplified with the sexual scandals, that things are coming out, And I mean, I don't want to go into my story extensively, but that even happened to me back in the late 90s when I was a public radio DJ, and there was a homosexual boss, and I was not gay, and he always, hit on me, and he always asked me out on dates, and it made me very, very uncomfortable. And through circumstances indirectly related to that, I lost that job. And it was only after I lost the job that I thought, I could have gone to the board of directors for the public radio station and said, he's sexually harassing me, he's always, he won't leave me alone, he won't take no for an answer, I'm not gay, I don't want to go out with him. But, I didn't want to rock the boat. And so maybe this is a revolution in consciousness, that people are not going to sit quietly anymore, and they'll speak up, So often in the past, whether it was Clarence Thomas or Bill Clinton, people discounted the accusers just out of hand. They were just like, oh no, it's not true. And now people do listen to the accusers. However, I will say one caveat, I am seeing kind of a witch hunt. And with some people like Bill Cosby, there are so many accusers. It's kind of like no smoke without fire. However, I don't want to see things go into a witch hunt where if someone is just accused of something, their guilt is automatically assumed. I definitely don't want to see us going down that route. One other human revolution of consciousness that I'll speak about goes to that free dissemination of information. When I was a kid, I was a big fan of William S. Burroughs and Philip K. Dick and Neil Gaiman. Those were my three favorite authors when I was a kid. And I read in practically all of William S. Burroughs' books. Like, I read over 30 of his books. Same thing with Philip K. Dick. I read every single one of his books except for like 4 or 5, that I couldn't get in the 90s. And there's a plane coming, so it'll get loud. I may cut. This is always so cool sitting here watching the planes land. And someday, I've thought about it before, but I haven't, made a conscious choice to do it yet. I was gonna film the planes landing here because it's just so cool. And it's a goodness, planes are we get so jaded with airplanes, with, I gotta fly, or I gotta go to the airport and then fly. And the last time I flew from Denver back home to Hilo, I thought to myself, like, I was like, this is like a rocket ship. Like, this is literally like a rocket that's taking me 5,000 miles an hour from Denver, Colorado to Hilo, Hawaii. I'm like an astronaut. And yet, you know, we just think, oh, la-di-da, planes. Anyway, let me get back on topic here. Revolution in human consciousness. Free sharing of information. When I was a kid, I was a big fan of William S. Burroughs. And if I wanted to hear a William S. Burroughs lecture, I needed to purchase a William S. Burroughs lecture. There was like Mystic Fire Video. There were a couple other companies I don't remember from the 90s. And they sold VHS cassettes and they sold cassette tapes. And you could purchase lectures by William S. Burroughs. And also I read like 30 books by, maybe 20, I don't want to exaggerate, by Timothy Leary. And I read Terence McKenna. And if I wanted to hear the lectures of any of those authors, I basically had to purchase a VHS tape, or I had to purchase a cassette tape. And the information was available, but it was available for purchase. And now through YouTube, many of those old lectures are available for free. You can go on YouTube and you can look up Terence McKenna, and you can find hundreds and hundreds of hours of lectures to go through for free. And for me, that is like a revolution of human consciousness that's available, you know, for these things that you used to have to purchase in the 90s, now in 2017, are freely available on the internet for anybody to see. And even maybe it's another angle to that, to have torrenting, you know. I'm not advocating pirating, but I do think it is. I mean, maybe I am advocating for it. I'm not sure what my position is on it yet. Let's put it that way. I haven't thought it through. But I do see it as a revolution of human consciousness. So, for example, I think a new DVD release had come out of the classic Italian film, The Wages of Fear. And, you know, Yves Montand driving that dynamite through the mountains. Me and my dad and my uncle went and saw that movie when I was a kid in Santa Barbara, California. I'd spent a year working on my uncle's organic farm in Goleta. And we went and saw that movie when I was a kid. It was amazing, you know, it was amazing. And before the movie, they showed the trailer for the classic Spalding Gray film, Monster in a Box. And it still sticks out in my head because it was, you know, as a movie trailer, it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. It was just amazing. And later, when I went to college, I think I had a TV then, and I had IFC, or the Independent Film Channel. And I think that must be, or maybe I rented, I don't remember, but I became a big fan of Spalding Gray's work. I just thought he was brilliant. And so when my dad was talking about Wages of Fear, it made me think of Monster in a Box. And I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that movie since like the late 90s or the early 2000s. Like, that'd be fun to see again. And I looked up on Pirate Bay, and sure enough, you know, there was a torrent, and then, you know, within 10 minutes it had downloaded, and I checked it, and it was able to be watched. Please don't come after me for copyright. I downloaded the movie for non-profit educational use only. Hashtag. But it just blew my mind that, like, you know, information, consciousness, Spalding Gray's artistic work, boom, available to me instantly. So not just like, you know, free YouTube videos that YouTubers like me put out, but, you know, this old film that, you know, you would normally have to purchase, or at least go to like an independent video store if your town had one, and rent it and then take it home and watch it. We are at a revolutionary age of information. I think it is so revolutionary right now that we just don't even fathom or comprehend how mind-boggling this is in all of recorded human history. So that's about what I had wanted to share in this video. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate your time. My name is Jack Musick, and I am leaving you with lots of aloha and blessings.